Every driver out here carries two maps of Route 66, the famous old highway across the U.S. One is the picture postcard map. Neon signs, motels shaped like cone-shaped tents, a set of famous lines. The other map is the real one, the one experienced drivers actually use. It has a few short stretches marked in a different color. This is that map. 8 towns along the old road that the real map flags, ranked bad to worst, with hard numbers and the instinctive feel for each one. Most lists give you city names. We are talking about exits, mile markers, the exact lot. Every claim here comes from official sources. We use FBI data. We also check rankings from CQ Press, a publisher of crime statistics. And we look at current numbers from Neighborhood Scout, a site that tracks neighborhood crime. We also check stories in named newspapers. And we refuse to artificially inflate the count with towns that do not have a recorded incident in the official records. If you know a bad stretch we missed, drop the exit and the state in the comments. We read every single one. One stretch on this list was not even a crime story. We will not invent one just to make a round number. The worst stretch is one that is right in front of you but unnoticed. It is the one so famous for trouble that the city itself quietly erased its own name for it. For 20 years, this strip had one name. That name appeared in the paper for shootings and sex work arrests. The city even had to block off streets. The people who lived there finally got City Hall to make the name go away. We will tell you the old name, the new name, and the reason Route 66 itself is what put the target here. Let's get into it. We start where Route 66 first hits California. The first town on this list is not here for its crime numbers. Needles, California. A driver crosses the Colorado River. He sees a dot on the map. He thinks, I can stop and stretch my legs here. And you can. But the real threat is the heat. This is a BNSF railroad town. BNSF is the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway, one of the big freight train companies. Interstate 40 passed it by, taking the place of Route 66 here. It left the town stranded. The middle point for what a household earns sits at about $40,000. Nearly 30% of the people here live below the poverty line. But those numbers are not what will get you. The heat will. Needles holds one of the worst records anywhere. The highest heat ever recorded here hit 125 degrees. They matched that number again as recently as June 20th, 2017. And in May of 2014, the weather station recorded the lowest humidity ever measured on the whole planet, 0.33%. The U.S. Weather Agency puts Needles on top for the hottest daily heat in the country, over and over. Picture a rig leaking cooling fluid pulled onto a shoulder that looks wavy from heat. The driver watches the heat dial shoot up. The asphalt melts into fake water illusions for miles. There is no checked and recorded crime event holding this stop on the list. Break down here and you are not waiting on a busy shoulder with help. 10 minutes out. You are waiting in heat that once hit 125 degrees. Keep count of how many of these towns got dangerous because the road that made them stopped needing them. Needles is number 1 on that list. The desert will punish you for what you do not get ready for. But the next town punishes you for thinking the postcard picture is the whole story. Barstow, California. Barstow Station is one of the most famous rest stops on the old road. It is a plaza built to look like old railroad cars. It serves 20,000 tour buses a year. More than 19 million vehicles pass through this town every year. It is the last place any family thinks a mass shooting will happen. In June of 1997, it got one. A man with a gun opened fire at the McDonald's inside. This was the McDonald's built from 3 train cars sitting side by side. It happened during a robbery that went wrong. He killed a 9-year-old girl and hurt others. The Los Angeles Times ran that story on June 17, 1997. The current rate for all violent crime in Barstow sits at about 11 for every 1,000 people. That number is high. But the danger here is not just the numbers. Interstate 15, Interstate 40, and Highway 58 all come together here. That route pours both honest travelers and people with bad plans into the same spot. High traffic does not mean high safety. It raises the chances of the wrong person walking in. Picture a tour bus letting out laughing families in front of those old train cars, then pull the camera back to the same parking lot. 25 years earlier, a father dropped to the ground, covering his daughter. The most family-friendly rest stop on Route 66 had a mass shooting on its own land. So the test for safety was never just, it looks safe. A meeting point of highways brings one kind of trouble. The next stop brings a different kind. This is the kind that puts your trailer, not your wallet, in the danger zone. Flagstaff, Arizona. Flagstaff's day-to-day violent crime sits near the country's average. It is around 4.76 for every 1,000 people. So why is it on this list? A team paid for by the federal government had to run an operation that lasted years. The target was clear. Cartels moving drugs on the Interstate 40 stretched through town. They called it Operation Nightfall. Between 2015 and 2017, they took more than 300 pounds of cocaine. They made more than 100 arrests. Their stated aim was stopping cartels from using this path. The interstate is good for moving loads across the country. That same thing makes it good for moving drugs. Nobody is going to rob you on the street here. The danger is that your legal goods might get caught in an area with many police checkpoints. One unofficial favor can end your whole working life. Picture a state police officer walking a drug dog around a truck at a Flagstaff rest area. The driver's hands are tight on a board holding papers that have to be perfect. Clean drivers take on the extra watching that this path brings. Expect more eyes on your trailer here than almost anywhere else on this list. From a town where the danger is in your papers, we move to one where the danger is right outside your door. The numbers, measured proportionally per person, have not dropped in 10 years. Gallup, New Mexico. On the 140-mile gap between Flagstaff and Albuquerque, Gallup is the stop you cannot avoid, and it posts the highest violent crime rate in the state. It did then, and it does now. In 2014, a local news and FBI report put down 463 violent crimes. That was an 11% jump from the year before. It was about twice Albuquerque's rate at that time. That is a very high crime level. Current numbers for 2024 from the crime data site Neighborhood Scout put the violent crime rate at 14.8 for every 1,000 people. That is the highest per-person number on this whole list. That makes it one of the most dangerous one-person of towns in the country. You will see this move again. When a road's name gets toxic, the people in charge change the sign. They do not fix the ground. The old highway nearby was first called US 666. They changed its number to New Mexico 491 in 2003. The official reason was the link of 666 to devil worship. But the road's real high count of deaths added a heavy push. Picture a driver pulling into a well-lit truck stop off exit 20. He looks at the dark sign for the old business loop, the old Route 66, through the center of town. He decides the all-night eating spot is not worth the walk. You do not choose whether to pass through Gallup on Interstate 40. You choose whether you know the numbers before you open the door. No shame in looking those up. That instinctive feel? Change the name. Hope the old name's cloud goes away. We will meet it again at the top of this list. That is 3 towns where the danger hides in plain sight. Hey, real quick, before we get to the places where the road itself leaves you no choice, I want to ask you something. Have you ever stopped for fuel in Gallup at night? Or have you run the old strip on Central in Albuquerque? But that is the old Route 66 strip through the center of town. What did you see? Tell me in the comments. That is how I will know who really made it this deep into the video. And if you are getting something out of this, hit that like button. It costs you nothing. All right, let's keep moving. If Gallup's numbers are a warning, the next city is what happens when the whole place goes broke. And you are the one standing in the lot when it does. San Bernardino, California. A city that once did well on rail work, fruit farms, and Route 66 tourists filed for Chapter 9. That means the city itself was broke by law. It filed right in the middle of its worst crime streak. In 2005, the killing rate hit 29 for every 100,000 people. That was 13th in the country. It was 3rd in California. These were alarming figures. The city was in serious trouble. The crime statistics publisher CQ Press ranked it the 16th most dangerous city in 2003. It fell to 18th, then 24th by 2005. Then on July 10th, 2012, the city leaders voted to file for being broke. They owed more than $1 billion. They were the third California city to file in a single month. They did not come out of it until February of 2017. The current numbers are down from that high point, but the violent crime rate still sits at 9.47 for every 1,000. That is above 96% of U.S. cities. Picture a trucker at a red light on a regular city street. The police station is visible down the block. At that same time, city officials are in a court deciding which people they owe get paid first. A city that cannot pay its bills cannot pay for police. So if you need help, no officer may answer. So far, you could choose to pass through. But the next two towns are different. The road itself drops you right into them, and there is no way around a river. East St. Louis, Illinois. To head west, you must cross the Mississippi River. The old Route 60 or today's interstates all lead to it. That funnel points you straight into a small city. At its worst point, this city had a killing rate 18 times the country's average. In 2015, FBI data showed 19 killings. There were 146 strong-arm thefts, that's thefts using physical force, and 682 serious attacks. The city had just over 26,000 people living in it. That was the highest killing rate in the whole United States for that year. A U.S. Senator from Illinois, Dick Durbin, in 2013, pointed to that per-person killing rate. He said it was 18 times the country's average. And I want to be fair to the people who live there. The current numbers are down. The population has fallen to about 17,000. The violent crime rate now sits at 7 for every 1,000. That is still, in Neighborhood Scout's own words, one of the highest in the nation across communities of all sizes. Picture a driver rolling onto the Poplar Street Bridge. The city's low skyline is right ahead. You know the green exit signs. They point to streets that just a few years ago had the worst per-person killing rate in the country. You cannot plan a way around a river. Every driver who takes this crossing takes it through the numbers above. And the other side of this exact river crossing? On its own fully separate numbers, it made the exact same list. It made it 3 times. There is no safe side of this bridge, St. Louis, Missouri. 2 research firms, Morgan Quitno and CQ Press, ranked St. Louis the most dangerous city in America. It held that title in 2003, 2007, and 2010. No other city on this list holds that repeat shameful title. Current live data from 2024, 150 killings. That is a rate of 54 for every 100,000 people. That is an extremely high rate. That is the highest killing rate of any item on this entire list. Consider what that means for a driver passing through. There were 692 strong-arm thefts, nearly 2,800 attacks with serious hurt. The situation is severe. The population is about 288,000. More than 20% live below the poverty line. The old Route 66 line through North St. Louis ran through particular neighborhoods. A police chief later said that 2 out of every 3 killings in the city happened there. On January 3, 2018, the new police chief spoke to the local paper. He said that 2/3 of killings and half of attacks happen in one area. It is a triangular area in the north part of the city. That is exactly where the old road ran. It went through blocks that had lost up to half their people. You do not get to pick a safe side of this crossing. On one side, the city held a national most dangerous title 3 times. On the other, the city posted the highest killing rate of any on this list. All these factors come together on one street in Albuquerque. There was the financial crash when the road moved on. Violent crime filled the empty space, and the city tried to escape the past by renaming. This is where the postcard picture died, and nobody said goodbye. Albuquerque, New Mexico. The strip of Central Avenue cuts through what is now called the International District. This was once the neon-lit, small motel heart of Route 66. They moved the road to run Central Avenue this way in 1937. By 1955, 98 motels served tourists here. Then Interstate 40 opened. It stole all the traffic. Those motels filled with people paying by the week. Being poor and crime, both got packed into one spot. By the late 1980s, the place had a street name, the War Zone. In 1996, 34 killings happened in the southeast part of Albuquerque. That was more than half the city's total that year. 11 of those were in one small patch called Trumbull Village. A headline reported that drug arrests pushed residents to take back the war zone. By 1991, a paper described the East Central Strip as a loose-jointed carnival of sex, drugs, and alcohol. In 1997, the city put up physical roadblocks on the side streets. They did it to cut off the paths that wrongdoers used, and then they did the thing we saw in Gallup. They changed the name. In 2009, after people who lived there pushed for years, the area got a new official name, the International District. They erased War Zone from the open record. The International District today is a real place. It is a working-class home for people who came here from other countries. It has small places to eat. It holds a fair once a year. This is a story about what a left-behind road leaves behind. It is not a hit on the people who still call it home. Picture a driver crawling down Central Avenue as the light fades. He passes an old Route 66 motel sign. Its lights now shine on a room you pay for by the week. A street block, still bolted down, sits at the next crossing. A newer street sign reads, International District. Everyone in the cab still calls it by its old name. When a road's name gets bad enough, the state changes its number. When a city's own name becomes the warning, they have to wipe it out by law just to keep going. That's when you found the worst stretch on the map. 8 towns on the same road, and one honest pattern shows. Almost none of this danger is from Route 66 postcard past. It is from what happened after the road stopped being the only way through. A small motel left behind by the bypass becomes a rundown place for weekly stays. A railroad town gets left alone in the heat. A town that got rich fast, then went broke. 2 cities stand on opposite sides of the same river. Each ended up on national most dangerous lists, with their own separate numbers. And one stretch on this list was not even a crime story. We will not invent one just to make a round number, and you should not either when you are deciding where to park tonight. The drivers who run these stretches keep their eyes moving. They share the warning. The map in their head is worth more than any note from the office or any GPS screen. Somebody running behind you tonight has not learned it yet. Based on tips you have been sending in, we found one for Missouri this time. Kansas, Oklahoma, and the northern part of Texas are still wide open. Drop the exit and the state in the comments. The best ones become the next list. We read every single comment, and if you want that map in your head too, hit subscribe. It is the cheapest protection you will ever buy out here. Until next time, keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up. That simply means drive safely.